Jim and Burns. And Dave.
Who?
I'm Dave. It's me. It's my debut podcast.
Is it? You've never done a podcast
I have never done one before, and I am figuratively bursting with excitement.
No. So, yes, I'm Steve Burns, and I'm joined today, as ever, to infinity. Yeah. No doubt, with Jim Trinket and David Mills. Dave the Boy Mills. So, yeah, I think we should probably talk a bit about you, Dave. First.
Yeah, I mean, everything we're doing at the moment seems to be introducing you to people who, because we've for the past however many years have had jobs where we're basically in the public eye, or have done things like Game Wank, where lots of people know what I'm doing, But you.
What we're saying is no one cares about you.
No one cares. We've established that narrative already.
You've been in the background. You're like the sort of the Forrest Gump of the group. You've kind of slid through history, appearing in famous photographs, but never quite being front and center. But always the one with the camera making all the dollar. So that's.
So tell everyone what you do, Dave. What you used to do.
What do I do? Well, yeah, my background is in film and television. Really, that's what I've always worked in since starting out as a wee boy on work experience at Coronation Street, that bastion of Northern production back in the day.
Shit. What a bloody joke you are, Dave! A fucking stereotype.
And yeah, then I met old Steve Burns at university, and then through him, Jim Trinket. And all that while, I've been working on different film productions and television productions, and I now wound up with you two mugs.
I was about to say, Dave, if that was just the history, you've kind of undersold your career a bit there.
Well, what would you like to know? Specifics?
So we've got a few questions when we put a call out, so we may as well just incorporate some of them there.
Yeah.
So, Dave, someone wants to know what is the favourite film that you've worked on, because what you do is in the camera department on big shit, on cool shit. That's
favourite thing I've worked. For enjoyment, actually, I quite like the smaller little independent films. In truth, rather than the big blockbuster ones. Hyde Park on Hudson, which is not a big film, but it's Bill Murray jaunting about, and seeing him do his thing every day with Laura Linney is you get up and you're like, this is why I get up at 4 a.m. in the morning when you see real actors doing great stuff. Yes, for money. That is the kicker on some of those things where you're like, I'm getting paid to be here and watch this. This is brilliant. In terms of like the most iconic things would have to be like when you're walking on set and seeing the Millennium Falcon on episode 7. That was like, okay, this is a genuine piece of movie history. Or the Death Eaters attacking Hogwarts. That was you just stood there and all these cloaked people come towards you like, oh, this is really cool. I mean, the vast majority of it isn't that exciting. It's a lot of moving heavy shit around, but there's just those little moments that you get when you stand and you're on an incredible set, or there's a really iconic scene. Okay, this is brilliant. This is worth all the standing in the rain.
Make this happen.
Yeah.
So Dave, you also do or have done some sports stuff, as we spoke about on the internet before.
Yes, indeed. Well, spoke about ripped me. I believe,
you are in one of the most famous shots in recent Liverpool FC history. Where they completely fucked the league. There you are, with your steady camera there. You can actually see you're a little bit pissed off about it.
A little bit heartbroken rather than pissed off.
Suarez is crying.
Suarez is literally in tears.
It's the most crestfallen I've ever seen. I mean, I've never seen your face do that, because every time I've met you, you've just been like pretty happy.
Generally am, but there was not a happy day. Yeah. But thankfully, it's been photographed to shit. So yeah, it's there to remember forever.
I might get it framed and get it in this room.
Yeah.
Just
right next to your Man United bloody trophy there.
When we start doing the visual podcast, we'll just have that as the backdrop, blown up. Which can I say that's part of the plan?
Well, you just have, mate. So
you just sold it now. Yeah.
Speaking of the plan, so obviously there's a podcast here.
Yeah.
There's going to be some other cool stuff. We're going to be moving, I think, into new characters and new things, because there's no point just doing all the things you've done before. And one of the reasons why we left Video Gaming was because we wanted to do more stuff that we just didn't have the time to do before.
I mean, if you watched the stream we did yesterday, sort of day after launch, we thought we'd better get something out quite quickly because we were quite busy with other things that day, and we were. So I mean, this will cover some of the things we covered yesterday. But if you haven't heard, specifically, we brought up history stuff, history content, stuff that our remit. On Jim Burns and Dave is pretty much whatever we think will be good, or whatever we think will be cool, things that interest us. Of course, we're still going to talk about video games, films too, to some extent. We could even do a book review, Burns, because you do the reading and that, don't you?
Yeah, I'm the last person on earth who reads books.
Oh, I'll join you there. Yeah,
I'm that guy. No,
I listen to them.
I've never listened to an audiobook.
No,
a little fact for you.
I'm going through the Stephen Fry Harry Potter ones at the moment.
Yeah,
it's very good. It's like having an uncle, like a really nice man.
You've never had an uncle.
Really nice.
That's very sad.
I wish Stephen Fry was my uncle. Out of you.
He's like your dad's brother.
Is that your dad's brother?
Burns, would you like me to read the whole the Harry Potter series to you whilst you nod off to sleep?
That would be amazing.
You can't do it because every time you came to any word with a vowel, he would slag you off for the
Yes, that is true. Anytime the word bath popped up, that would be problematic.
Yeah.
That is absolutely correct. So right,
but history stuff.
Yeah,
we're gonna do history stuff. We want to do. I think the world needs somebody to do the really good stuff that David Starkey has done, but not have to watch David Starkey. So that's
your
the market.
pitch.
Yeah, that's the market I want to corner. I'm a nice man. I'll tell you all that shit without having to look at him. So
you'll have to work on your delivery. It seems so. Right, what has everyone been up to then? So we've been quite busy, and so we've actually probably missed everything. There's some Duke Nukem stuff.
Yes, I believe so.
Great, we didn't watch it.
We're out of the cycle now.
Yeah.
We really don't care.
Dave turned down working on Justice League in my games room. We're speaking of the big productions, Dave. While we're on that topic, the Star Warses and the Game of Thrones and the Justice Leagues or whatever. How, in terms of being a cog in the machine, you would think that they would be very slick, those operations, but when you're there, there's a lot of moving parts. How
there is, and certainly. It never really falls to pieces. The good thing about when you do those
Alien 3.
those huge feature films is that they really do employ and England is very fortunate the fact that its crews are some of the best in the world and really hardworking and cheaper than Americans, which is why they love to shoot their Hollywood films over here now. But yeah, you've really got masses of people who are all incredibly skilled at their jobs. It can be a challenge at times getting everyone to work in the same directions because things are always changing last minute. There's always problems, but it is really exciting thing to work on, and it's really cool just walking on a set and seeing everyone's skills, and once that kind of turnover is called and everyone's focused, and you see
the kind of Greg's
everything just come together.
Dave, no one knows what your stupid inside baseball terms turnover.
Okay, well when you turn the camera on, when you capture that magic,
there you go.
But it's just all the different departments. I mean, you wouldn't believe how many people it requires to make those films happen, and that's why you can be stood around quite a lot waiting for every department to do their thing. But overall, that's the challenge of the big ones. The kind of the smaller independent ones, there's less people to put their fingers in the pie, and so you kind of move a bit swifter. And then in television, you don't stop for anything at all. You just go.
Because there's no time.
No, and certainly in England, there's no money either.
So speaking of the direction there and everyone pulling in the same direction, I remember reading someone saying that they think films should not be billed as a film by Francis Ford Coppola or whoever.
That's an interesting point. I mean, if you're successful as a director, then you're really successful because of the hard work of all the people that you hire. So the incredible costume designers, the beautiful sets, the cinematography, all these different elements that come together. So you do ride that wave to win an award. Is you've got all those things come together, and the performances of the actors. So yeah, really, if you win an award, you're sharing that with everyone that has worked so hard to make your vision a reality. If it fucks up, it kind of does stop with just the direction sense in many ways, because you kind of hired those other people. I mean, a correlation I would put it with is almost being a football manager. That, I mean, obviously, as with Alien 3, your favourite topic of conversation, sometimes your hands are tied in the sense that the board don't give you any money or totally bone you, or the studio does that with you. But sometimes it falls apart because you haven't picked the right players or you haven't been good enough. So the book does stop with you as the director. But if it all comes together, then it's because of everyone's hard work and not just your own. But that isn't to say that you can't be an auteur, because you have a vision and you hire the right people to bring your vision to screen.
Well, look at that. That's actually a really good answer, Dave. You've passed the test. You don't just make the tea, it seems.
Yeah, this might be the smartest podcast we've ever been on.
I know. Well, that's why I said it would be different.
One of them was called Game Wank. So.
Still the greatest title.
Every now and then I have a little think about just the title, Game Wank.
And the tagline, Wank about games. It was a perfect moment. That was a question from Alan Porter, by the way, right?
Yeah.
As well, yeah.
Just, sorry, Alan. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So the Kubrick film question.
Yeah, get your attribution.
So I think we should probably just kind of go through these, right? Because
we're kicking off, aren't we?
At the moment, I think we're gonna, in terms of formats, we're gonna come up with stuff and things, but at the moment we're really just kind of we're battering questions like with a tennis racket from one of those machines that shoots the balls. That's my analogy. I hope I explained it well. I'm gonna go home now.
Right. Okay. So let's have a little look, shall we? Right. So Christian Denning asks, "What's the best space or starship in any film?" Now that obviously makes sense to go with, because Jim's got many varied opinions on.
He knows all the DS9 ones off by heart, doesn't he?
And Dave, you've been on set with some of these that no doubt people will pick.
Well, you've been on set of the most iconic spaceship of all time, I guess. I mean,
I'd imagine so. Yeah, I suppose that's up there. Enterprise, probably not as much as the Millennium Falcon.
I don't know. See, it seems like a bit too obvious to say the fucking Millennium Falcon.
Actually, Death Star's kind of cooler.
That wouldn't be my choice. Are you joking?
What would you? Right, I don't even know.
You've opened Pandora's box
what
here.
Would your choice be?
Season 7, episode 3, 16 minutes into it.
Best starship in any film. Well, technically the USS Defiant was in the opening 5 minutes of Star Trek First Contact, even though it was mainly a TV ship from Deep Space Nine. But it was in a film, so I'm going to go with Defiant, the USS Defiant.
I mean, tying back to Kubrick, obviously the space station in 2001 is pretty sweetly designed.
That is pretty cool. That is. Sorry, I fell asleep.
Sorry. Mine's a really stupid answer anyway, because it's the least cinematic. It's like it's a TV set. It's designed for television. It's like it's a TV ship.
I love the Battlestar Galactica designs that I think are brilliant, because they just. I mean, again, it's TV. It's not film, but. They just look functional. They look like what actual ships would.
Although the original kind of 1978 pilot was released in the cinema.
So there you go.
There we go.
There's a loophole into it.
You can have that.
I believe they're making a film, aren't they, of it?
Probably, yeah, I think they are actually. Isn't it Brian Singer's involved, isn't he? I'm sure I heard that. He's involved with fucking everything.
Yeah,
probably means it's so much shite. No, serious answer. The movie version of the Enterprise from Star Trek, not the new one, but the original, which wasn't the original. But yeah, when they did Star Trek the motion picture. That was it was a beautiful redesign of the TV ship, and if you've ever seen Star Trek the motion picture, what it basically attempts to do. Have you seen it?
Yes.
Maria, have you seen it? Obviously not.
Are you fucking joking?
What it attempts to do, it's trying to be like Kubrick's Star Trek the motion picture. It's not directed by Kubrick, it's directed by Robert Wise, right? So what that translates as is it's a bit mad, it's a bit weird, and it's slow as fuck.
Yeah.
There's like this. I mean, it feels like a 20-minute sequence. It's probably only 2 minutes, but there's a sequence of beauty shots of the new ship as it's sitting under construction in space dock. And I think what you got to remember is at the time Star Trek had been off air for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And
with good reason, you know.
It's all on Netflix now, Ben, so you can sit down and watch your way through
Maybe
it.
that's going to be one of our many new
I think
endeavours.
it should be, yeah.
Oh,
you giving a commentary on every single episode
I'm
of Star
going to
Trek.
make him watch Deep Space Nine, Babylon 5. But this is Star Trek coming back, and it was like, holy shit, people, you know, and it wasn't like now where media is constantly consumed and reconsumed. Back then, an episode of Star Trek goes on television in 1963 or whatever, you never saw it again. That was it, you know? So it was a really big thing that these characters and this world was coming back. So it spends 10 minutes panning around this beautiful miniature of the ship, and like, as you know,
and also that's the point for a lot of things, that miniatures and stuff like that still to this very day look so much better than doing it like with effects.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because especially in as everyone here knows, in the video game generation, we are used to moving pixels around in really cool ways all the time. I feel
moving pixels. What's this fucking dad speak all about?
Yeah, but when you think something that's actual physical is brilliant. And the same, like I went to cinema recently to watch a rerun of Terminator 2. Terminator and Terminator 2 back to back, which is the thing is, when he drives the truck off the bridge, you sit there and you think, fucking hell, they got someone to get in it and drive it off the bridge. That's what the real danger and threat is there. Whereas when it's continually just, and quite often if you don't have the budget, rubbish computer generated images, you're just like, meh. Like where's the jeopardy? Where's the danger in it? Because you're used to that all the time on your consoles.
Actually, when you see like sets, stunts that had to be performed on set by human beings, there is a panic and a kind of a sense of urgency to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you feel that they're in threat. Whereas if it's shit green screen, that there's. Like, that's why I felt the last Bond suffered in that helicopter thing. I didn't feel any threat there. But then the same year, you've got Tom Cruise literally taking off on the side of a plane. You're like, this is awesome.
Yeah, because he'd done it. Yeah. But I mean, just in answer to the original question, that that spaceship, the original Enterprise, and probably for that reason, because of those beauty shots, that sequence, it's the best sequence in the whole film. And after that sequence is over, turn the film off because it's fucking
it's peaked.
Absolutely.
Showing the shark early doors.
I think that was a really, really beautiful ship. So,
wow, dude.
What about the ship in Independence Day? That one of your favourites,
the big
Jim?
saucer, well,
I mean, this does tie in beautifully to a question here. If you want to read that one,
what is that one?
I think you should direct directly to Jim.
What's worse, Will Smith knocking out that alien in Independence Day, or the whole of Wild Wild West?
I mean, I'm still going to start off by disagreeing with the premise of the question that not Will Smith knocking that alien out is a bad thing. It's one of the best moments in film history.
Wow, that is a statement. I am going to watch Independence Day at the Royal Albert Hall with a full orchestra.
Oh, I wanted to go to that. Nobody would fucking go with me.
And then Jurassic Park. I mean, I'm just going to kill myself after that. 'Cause it's not going to get any better, is it?
Yeah, fuck me. I wanted to go to that ID4 thing at the Royal Albert Hall, and I was like, every time I asked somebody, do you want to go to this? They were like, fuck off, mate.
Well, you need to get better mates because they're idiots.
Well, exactly.
Why would you not go to that?
That David Arnold score is incredible as well. Fuck, what a film. So no, I mean, obviously Wild Wild West is worse than that because one of those things is good.
It's rubbish. Yes.
You know what? I've not seen it. So
what, Wild Wild West?
Yeah. So
you need to see it at least once.
Yeah. It was.
You need
well,
to
you know
see
the
it.
Kevin Smith story, right?
Yeah, I was going to say
it's just incredible.
Was that about John Peters?
No, it's where he asked him that.
So it's the spider-obsessed producer.
Yeah. And was it Batman he was pitched for? Superman, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So he didn't want him to wear a uniform, possibly the most iconic uniform of all. And he went in to fight a giant mechanical spider. Which the correct answer was no, fuck off, that's stupid. Yeah. And then, lo and behold, $200 million later, look what you've got.
The producer will always get their way in the end, and if it was John Peters, as I think it was, let me tell you, after reading some things about old John, he knew what he was doing until the giant spider. So this is a really good question. I think it's from James Stone. What's the best scene in a bad movie? So while you're thinking about it, I'll kick off with it's not a bad movie at all, it's a good one, but there's a scene in Midnight Run which is so much better than the rest of the movie that it seems like it's come completely out of a different movie, and that is when Robert De Niro turns up to get his ex-wife's car. He turns up to her house, they're divorced or estranged or whatever, and he runs into his kid, who he's obviously not seen in a little while, and he says, "You got so big," words to that effect, and you're like, wait, whoa, hold on, this is like a comedy, it's almost like a buddy comedy where they just travel across if you've not seen it, it is brilliant, but that is not really that serious. And then bang, right in the middle of it is this great moment where De Niro actually goes, "Oh yeah, I'm actually a very good actor," and just
it's this. I mean, again, it's certainly not a bad film at all. It's probably a 7. I don't think Pixar make bad films, but Up, the little montage scene where they deal with opening miscarriage and loss, and it's just no dialogue, like 3 minutes long, and it's much better than the rest of the film, but that's probably because it's the purest form of filmmaking you can ever get. If you want to learn how to tell stories, then that 3-minute segment is an absolute masterclass.
I was in bits the first time I watched that. But you're right, yeah, it is absolutely like a class above the rest of the film, which is not a bad film.
It's just bad for Pixar, which is still better than pretty much anyone else. It's just because they just make solid 10s.
Although it picks up when the talking dogs come into it. But I mean,
but that's not really the answer. I don't know what a good film.
I know one.
Final Destination. The quintessential shit film with good bits.
But that's a brilliant pitch for a film, though.
Yeah, it is. I'll tell you what, a really bad movie with good scenes. And I can't believe this exists. Every now and then I just kind of check that it does. The first Jack Reacher is rubbish.
Don't know what it is. Never heard of that film.
Tom Cruise.
Never heard of that film. I think you've
never heard of Cruise.
You've never heard of Jack Reacher or Tom Cruise.
Oh, is the assassin one?
He's like...
I have seen Jack Reacher.
Yeah.
My dad can't pronounce Jack Reacher. For weeks he kept saying to me, I really want to see that, Jack Treacher. I'm like, there's no such film as Jack Treacher. What the fuck are you talking about?
What?
Yeah, it went through several iterations as well. It's like Treacher, Teacher, Jack the Teacher.
You get that he might have just been winding you the fuck up.
No, because he's just a mad old
Tom Cruise is Jack the Teacher. Well,
sounds like a Francis Ford Coppola
Jack
from
the
the 90s.
Teacher.
But yeah, in that movie, which is your fairly substandard Jason Bourne style man with a past and martial arts skills, fuck shit up.
Jason Bourne is
the latest
excellent
triumph
now.
Yeah. Werner Herzog turns up as one of the villains.
Yeah.
And you're like, what's Werner Herzog doing in this movie? If you've ever seen any of his movies, he's quite a serious and eccentric filmmaker, and has been in some of the all-time best arguments with anyone. Many of them captured on film with Klaus Kinski. But yeah, so he turns up and he's got quite the drawl on him, and he starts speaking. You're like, what the fuck is Werner Herzog doing in this movie? He doesn't fit. It's just like someone has just inserted him into it, as in the best fan edit of all time. And if you've not seen it, there's probably some clips on YouTube. Other stuff that's weird, and kind of getting away from the original question, but stuff that doesn't quite fit is the end of World War Z, where they get on a flight or a plane from Jerusalem, I think, and the plane crashes, and all but Brad Pitt. I think Brad Pitt is the only survivor, and someone else maybe. Anyway, that wasn't meant to be the original ending.
So they shot the whole thing.
The original ending was in Russia, but they just didn't go for it because I think budget concerns. So what happens is you feel this incredibly well produced opening, let's say hour and a quarter, hour and a half, and then you get to like the third act, and it's shot on. It seems shot almost entirely differently, and now it's in Wales.
Yeah, it's just like a hospital in Swansea, isn't it?
And so you've gone from this. You've been in Jerusalem and all these other places, and you've been running these walls of zombies and all of this, and then suddenly you're in a hospital or something in Wales.
That was a strange. Have you read the book, World War Z?
No.
It's actually brilliant. I mean, I enjoyed the film, but it's like an action film, whereas the book is like a comment on all different societies and religions and people's beliefs, and it's incredible. It's definitely worth a read, but it's so different to the point I don't really know why they bothered paying for the rights to the title World War Z.
Money. But yeah, didn't you? I think I remember having a conversation in the pub with you, Dave, and someone you know who worked on that, and them just being like, "Yeah, the ending is weird. It's getting weirder." But yeah, and then Peter Capaldi just turns up, and you're like, "This is cool." Like,
I mean, I'm always happy for Peter Capaldi to turn up.
Absolutely. But yeah, that the whole thing. I think I've described it before. It feels like you're watching a mega budget Hollywood blockbuster, and then right at the crucial moment, someone has taped over the ending with like Holby City zombies. And you're like, what? But I mean, I didn't hate that movie. A lot of people really fucking hated it.
No, I didn't hate it. No, I didn't. I mean, I didn't understand what was so terrible about it. It wasn't particularly great, but it was...
A lot of people got hung up, as you said, Dave, on the name. And it seems like the film that's actually closer to being a proper World War Z is Contagion.
Yes, yeah.
Which is, that's a character piece,
But it was really interesting. It's just a little patchwork of
stories,
interviews and stories and stuff in the book. But it's obviously not in the film. It's just lots of explosions and shit.
It's Brad Pitt, helicopters going. And also the ending of the movie completely removes the justification narratively for Matthew Fox being in the movie. So Matthew Fox, at the beginning, you're probably wondering why a helicopter pilot or gunner, I think, is played by someone who's quite famous. Cameos happen, right? But generally if they're stunt casting, or not stunt casting, sorry, and they it's not just a cameo. There's a reason for them to be there. So, spoiler alert, in Interstellar, someone quite famous gets out of the fridge, their hypersleep or whatever, when they finally get to one of the previous missions, right? There's a reason for that. By removing the real end or the original end of World War Z, where Matthew Fox's character kind of gets into a weird relationship with Brad Pitt's character's wife, where he's protecting her in exchange for sexual favours, I think. You've removed the reason that he's in the movie. So at the start you're like, oh man, it's Matthew Fox in a helicopter, and then you're like, where did Matthew Fox in the helicopter go? So yeah, the best scenes in the movie, definitely though, Werner Herzog in Jack Reacher. Right, let's have a little look through the rest of the I think so. From Robert McEwen, can hype sour a game? Now, people know or may know our take on this because we've talked about it before elsewhere. But Dave, you're a real person, and so you
allegedly.
So you buy, you don't get pre-release games. Well, we don't anymore, I don't think. But what all you've got to go on. You're not at the press events. You're not playing debug preview builds. So the only time you're playing it is if there's a demo or a beta or whatever, or you're buying it. So have you ever, when you were excited about video games, you thought the hype's getting too much, it's getting too much?
Because I'm not in that world continually reading about it all the time, it's never had that effect on me for video games. I tend to download a demo or hear someone mention it and then I'll have a go. So the hype never... I guess if you're reading about it every day and you're building up to it, it's kind of inevitable that it's, in most cases, it's going to disappoint you. It's like when you tell someone to watch Citizen Kane because they haven't seen it and they're like, what's the greatest film of all time I've heard? Like, if you're going into it with that attitude, you're generally going to be disappointed because it can't be everyone's favourite film of all time and stuff. But if you just... And the same with, No Man's Sky, I guess, is the most recent one that's had an incredible amount of hype. But if you just go into it and just appreciate it for what it is, then I feel you're not setting yourself up for a fall as much.
Absolutely.
As expecting it to be exactly tailored to your wishes.
Well, the argument, the counter argument is that advertising, marketing gets people, but at the same time,
you want to build excitement, and also from a financial point of view, definitely good that everyone's continually talking about it and then going out and buying it. Like, that's and it's made by a tiny little studio as well, isn't it? It's great that those things are happening in the video game world.
Yeah, it's one of those games that I don't think is the game that people expected it to be. But we've talked quite a lot about this in various different places.
I think the only problem is when you missell something.
Yes, well, that was a lot of the thing for No Man's Sky. But yeah, some other questions that have come in. So, favourite films and why? So come on, Dave. Fucking. I want to. Don't give me any of this bullshit now. Give me the proper technical reasons.
Well, for all of them, it essentially comes down to just telling good stories. That's the main thing, and then it doesn't matter how pretty something looks and who you've got in it. If the story's shit, then you're just polishing a turd, aren't you? That's absolutely useless. Whereas if you've got a good script and then you build on that with good actors, and then you build on it with good cinematography, and you build on it with good sets, and then you just get this whole momentum and you get this incredible piece at the end, which is obviously rare, but when it comes off. So my favourite films, God, I'm a big sci-fi geek. I am. Sorry, it's 2-1 now.
What's happening here?
Yeah, exactly. You're fucked now, mate.
Mate, I'm taller than both of you.
Yeah, most people are. But Solaris for me.
Original Solaris.
No, the George Clooney one is the better one.
Solaris is free,
that.
like the rest of Tarkovsky's work on YouTube.
Oh, is it?
So get fired into stock.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a good 3-hour thing, but it is brilliant. And yeah, 2001 is an obvious classic in that. And then the total other end is a little film called Primer, which is made for about $7,000. Another one of my favourite sci-fi
Primer
films.
started really fucking with people, didn't it?
It's great. I've seen it
a whole
Reddit
Reddit
and I still don't know exactly what's going on in it.
There's someone on Reddit had built an explanation for the movie with pictures, which usually if you need that for your film,
for your film it would tank, but no.
But I've not actually seen Primer, so I should probably get into it.
Yeah, you should. It's only like
I'm too old.
I think it's
have a brain hemorrhage.
Primer. I mean, I have seen Primer, but I think Primer for me, it's like EVE Online. Like the discourse around it is infinitely more interesting than the actual thing.
Yeah,
because otherwise it's just fucking internet spaceships and what were we talking about? But yeah, no, Primer is very interesting. But I don't know. I think because there was that the Hitchcock rule, isn't it? Like if confusing is not emoting. So I see plenty of films that confuse me but boil me to tears, and this is a bit confusing, but you're engaged with it and it's interesting, and obviously you can take those risks when you're very like an auteur spending $7,000, which you don't really get to take on big budget films. But Chris Nolan has proven that you can make intelligent blockbusters, that you don't have to be mindless shit.
Have you ever been on any of his stuff?
I haven't with Chris Nolan now, but he's one of my favourite filmmakers.
That's why he's number one.
Nowhere near it. I think he's a brilliant filmmaker. What do you think of Interstellar? I know it splits a lot of people.
I've never seen it.
Have you not?
I think the ending's one of the biggest loads of shit I've ever seen.
I like filmmakers that have got ambition and just punch. I mean, he's clearly punching for that kind of Kubrick and all that.
It's more Spielbergian though, that ending. Oh, listen, I'm not going to fucking explain what happens, but basically, at the end of Minority Report, where they're like, oh, and then everyone gets a happy ending, like.
I love 70s filmmaking actually is what I love, where shit just goes wrong.
Yeah, parallax view,
everything comes together and everyone's really happy. Like I Am Legend and stuff like that. It's one of my favourite books, and I know one of yours too. Some lovely moments in the Will Smith film, but at the end of it, literally makes the title make no sense.
Yeah, well, quite of course,
the America Saves the Day drivel.
One of the talking about 70s movies, and that's probably my favourite era. There'll be some jokes about that, no doubt. So I rewatched Chinatown the other day.
Yeah, I mean that
from front to back
fantastic.
And it gets better. There's one of those.
And Rosemary's Baby as well. I think it's an absolute classic as far as I'm concerned. It's been brilliant filmmaking.
But I found out about I think it's 1972. It's a movie with Ollie Reed in, and this movie would only have ever been made in the 1970s. So Ollie Reed is in prison, and he finds out that his wife is having an affair or something. Anyways, he's not happy about it, or his wife's planning to leave him or something. Anyway, she's pregnant. So in the 90s, there'd be some sort of, now I've got to break out of jail to prove my love. But this was the 70s, and it starred Ollie Reed. So in Sitting Target, Ollie Reed breaks or gets out of jail with the express aim of shooting her and killing both her and their unborn. And you're like,
yeah, they don't make those films anymore.
Like,
no.
Excuse, like, what? So I just went, yeah, this is my idea. So I went, here's tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to go and shoot that. But yeah, the 70s is. But
I mean, that is the golden era, and I think budgets have got a lot to play in that. Is that taking risks on a lot of things that cost less money, whereas now studios are spending incredible amounts of money making Iron Man 72 and all these kind of films. So they're more and more risk averse when you're spending that amount of money, and so they're just going after concrete names, and it's, you know, bankable names, but it does dilute what you see in the cinema, and it makes things just a bit more boring. I mean, you know, there's some of the massive films I love, and what I just think you should be taking that money and just spending a proportion on it, just giving a chance to a few voices, and some of them are going to be shit, some of them are going to be okay, and then occasionally you'll get one that will make you an absolute ton of money off you know, very little investment. A full Monty type, you know, that cost anything and made.
Yeah, I mean, this occurred to me recently, because I only recently got a Cineworld card again, and just
oh my days.
There was like a solid month where I just started watching just everything, and I think it was The Nice Guys, that recent, I can't even remember.
Shane Black movie.
Russell Crowe.
Yes, Russell Crowe, isn't it? Yeah.
I really liked it, by the way. But when I was watching, I was sitting there thinking, fuck, this doesn't happen very often, where I'm sat in a cinema watching something that isn't like the 12th
a sequel or a franchise or a spin-off or
like, and this isn't a universe I'm invested in. It's just gone to see a fucking film because it looks quite funny. Like that's rare now. Like one of my favorite film, well, probably I wouldn't say it was my favorite, I don't know what my favorite is, but definitely the one I always go to when people ask this sort of question is Lawrence of Arabia, because it's beautiful, and it's like I love that kind of biopic as well, and I love the kind of the really old kind of epics. It's like it's a 4-hour film, and you know,
although I do think you have to earn a license to tell a film that
absolutely,
long. Like,
absolutely.
I mean, when you've got to those films, it's absolutely, David Lee and stuff. You've earned the right. Yeah. But like when new filmmakers make 4-hour, 3-hour films and stuff, you're like,
it's just like they forgot to cut 90 minutes of it, basically. But I love that kind of era of that was sort of mid to late 60s Lawrence of Arabia, I think, if I remember rightly. But that time when cinema was still like spectacle, and it was still like
absolutely
really,
a real event.
It was like going to the theatre. People thought of it in the same way, like this is really special. It was like, when they go to see Ben-Hur and like and you can see
the new one.
But you can see when you watch those films, like you can see where the money's been fucking pissed everywhere. It's like, like Ben-Hur used to boasted at the time that it was like, the largest cast ever assembled for a film, because they had like fucking 2 billion extras or whatever the fuck it was. Whereas of course nowadays they would just like, they get a crowd shot and they clone it.
That's exactly what you do. You stand 6 people in a corner and
but I think, if we're talking like eras, and certainly the films that represent them, that for me, that era, Lawrence of Arabia, Ben-Hur's a bit earlier than Lawrence of Arabia, but like just when they had to really fucking, as you were saying earlier, when they wanted to make a film about Judah Ben-Hur, or about the life of Lawrence of Arabia, they had to fucking shoot it, and they had to get it in the can. And I remember watching a wonderful documentary on the Lawrence of Arabia DVD where Spielberg's talking about it, because it's Spielberg's favourite film, like, and he like headed up, I think he like funded the restoration of it and stuff, and he said it's the most pure film like that I've ever seen, because it is just told with light and sound, and there's nothing else going on.
There are people in it though, like it's not a shadow puppet show.
But I know, but you know what he means though.
Was that Spielberg in his 80s Gaddafi film?
Yeah, it totally was.
Talking a load of old shit.
That type of filmmaking is brilliant. If you take it to modern day stuff though, and gone back to Pixar, like WALL-E, where the first 25 minutes, I don't think anyone says
what is it with Pixar, like making the openings of their films really good and the rest is dog shit?
Oh no, absolutely not.
Right, Dave, I've got a question for you.
Fire away.
So when speaking of what of having to get it all in the can. When you're working on television, I know you said earlier that it's, you just shoot and just go. So you've worked on some of the biggest TV shows of all time. So what's the difference? Because we're now apparently in the golden age of television, right?
I think we really are, yeah. But I think that unfortunately the majority of that is coming out of America, which is a shame because Britain has always had a really proud and brilliant TV history. But again, the television seems to be going the same way of kind of again becoming more and more risk averse, and the more that you lose things to advertisers and their worries and that kind of stuff, then the more that you get that as well, which is why the BBC and things are really important. But I still think that don't exactly take many risks. I think that our whole culture is heading that way of everyone just taking less risks. In fact, for art, that's a really good TV and good film definitely is art. That's really bad.
Yeah. Now answer the fucking question.
What do you want to know?
The question was, when you're on the set, what's the fucking difference?
What, between films and TV?
You're talking about being a fucking Labour voter, basically. So yeah, apart from
the sheer amount of money on films, if you're talking the big, tentpole blockbuster films, is you're in hundreds of millions. You're certainly not that on a little TV drama, and then with that brings the whole crews and things like that again is massive. But it's the time frames and how long you've got to shoot it. Also, a film, you'll be on a film and you're probably there for 3 months, whereas it's a TV episode, half the time you shoot it in like a week or 2 weeks. I mean, it depends again on the budget. On stuff like Game of Thrones, it's got that was as fast moving as TV, but the sets and things were feature film sets because they've HBO have put money into it and it shows on the screen. You go there and there's like an actual castle that they've built and you're stood on the second story of it shooting down. You're like, oh wow, this is amazing. This is feature film stuff. But yeah, for TV, there just isn't the budget most of the time.
Not in Coronation Street.
No, not in stuff where you slam the door and the walls move.
Yeah,
but yeah, but American TV is just feels more ambitious. The minute, and again, that comes down to, I guess, having the money and the way they do it. They will also pay, to have many writers sat around the table spitballing ideas and in writers' rooms and having that, whereas there isn't the money to do that in England. That's not always a good thing because you can have a diluted vision if you have lots of people putting their opinions in. But on some things, it obviously works incredibly well.
Another good answer from you, Dave. We might have to get rid of you in a minute. Right, what's everyone else saying here? Okay, so Ken also asked, what would your WWE intro be?
Thunderstruck AC/DC.
Yeah, you fucking love AC/DC, don't you? You fucking... Yeah. Right, you, Jim. Your Star Trek thing, wouldn't it?
Fuck off, mate. My WD entrance. It'll probably be something ridiculous by fucking Morrissey. It'll probably be How Soon Is Now by the Smiths.
That would be brilliant.
I'd just walk down the ramp,
trolling the whole format of it.
I'd walk down the ramp and it would take me 10 minutes, and I'd be looking at my feet the whole time and not wanting to be there.
So Bray Wyatt, then, right?
Yeah, yeah. Shit Undertaker.
Yeah. Well, I just want to have a thing. I'd be like Bob Backlund. I'd just come in. I probably wouldn't even walk in. I reckon I'd be on a hovercraft or something.
Just shouting "See ya" as you come down the ramp.
It would just cut to a different camera, and all of a sudden you're just there.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly. I teleported in.
Yeah. With a chisel.
With a chisel.
Yeah.
What?
I just imagine if you did fight, you would just produce a chisel from somewhere.
Well, obviously.
Dirty little fighter, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You're joking.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So where do we sit on comedy in the comedy versus serious discussion? That's
well.
Luke. What's his handwriting, Dave? I don't know.
It's from Luke, isn't it?
Cheers, Luke. Appreciate it.
Well, I think there's room for both, isn't there? We're not limiting ourselves to one or the other. I mean, like if you've been listening to this, there's clearly been zero comedy here, so this is serious. But yeah, I don't see why you can't make sketches and also discuss, as you were, the kind of the role of editing and things like that in video games. And we're going to strive to do both, really.
Yeah.
I think it's still taking shape. Really, is what we're, and there is, as I said, there's a remit beyond what we're known for. So we don't really know. There is scope for both. There's definitely the desire to have both serious and comedy. But I mean, I think if we sat down and went, well, it's going to be 70% this, and we just don't know what the ratio is yet, and we've got to find what works. We've got ideas. We're working on putting them together. And we'll just have to see how it goes. But certainly, yeah, it will be serious and funny to some measure.
Yeah, pretty much.
I hope.
Well, we'll just make it really serious. Really serious.
We should just fucking make it Newsnight Review now.
Exactly. It's going to be more serious than the fucking World at War, mate. Let me tell you that. Which is very serious indeed.
Oh my god, we should totally lift World at War's delivery, style, tone.
What, Laurence Olivier? Good luck, mate. There you go.
As best as we can.
You could probably do it though. You've got good voices.
Because I'm well good at acting in that.
Yeah. Don't be. You're good at voices. Voices is not acting. That's why they've got two different categories.
I'm good at voices.
Voice acting,
not great.
And acting.
I'm good at character acting.
No, you are good.
So you could have got a job voice acting until you slagged off Pixar, but you fucked that avenue of revenue now, haven't you?
You should do some video game voice acting. I'm sure there's some people out there.
No, I absolutely fucking should.
Now that you are not a games journalist.
Yeah.
You won't be attending any press events. Well, we might be. Turn up.
Depends if you get invited, eh?
Yeah.
Only to fucking slag people off, mate.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, we should do that. We should take the World at War style, tone, delivery, and that's how we're reviewing games from now on.
What?
Good luck with that brand.
So we'll start with a little bit of amazing voiceover. There'll be some harrowing images, and then the all-time world's best title sequence, which after you see it, makes you feel like everything will not be okay. Images of children's faces burning in a fire. Not the faces, the photos, the images. You're like, it's getting serious in here. But then it was quite serious. Right, what are people saying here? What's going on? What am I reading here? Your fucking handwriting. Why did you... No. Right. Favourite
We'll probably
spin-offs?
cut this bit.
No. Keeping it all in. John Kendall asks, favourite spin-offs? So,
Deep Space Nine.
Because you're a mad wank, aren't you, Jim? So you're going to say Frasier, aren't you?
Deep Space Nine. Is the best.
Frasier.
No, I'm not going to say Frasier.
Joey.
Joey.
Have you set up a joke for me saying Frasier?
No.
Why would you bank on me saying Frasier?
Because Frasier is exactly the sort of faux intellectual bullshit that I imagine you fucking watch when you're not pretending to sit around.
I can't be fucked with Fraser. I've never been that sold on Fraser.
Frasier?
Frasier. No.
Fraser Nash.
Fraser Nelson.
Fraser Nelson from
It was obviously going to be DS9, wasn't it? I mean, that's the
DS9.
standard answer to about 75% of questions that you ask Jim.
Deep Space Nine. What's your favourite Star Trek? This was your favourite spin-off. Deep Space Nine's favourite TV show. Deep Space Nine.
Oh my word!
I'm going to start Deep Space Nine just for you, Trinker.
You should.
It does sound like the best.
I want Burns to watch it because, like, if you want to watch Star Trek, that is the best Star Trek.
I've seen a Star Trek movie in the theatres.
That doesn't count, does it? Depends which one.
But the movies are generally like shit Star Trek.
It was the one where the two fucking mad old wanks turn up and team up.
The fuck are you talking about?
That's brilliant.
Where fucking Jean-Paul Gaultier and fucking
the
guy from Halloween turns up and then
Picard and Kirk. You could just fucking describe it like a normal human being.
Where the two mad old wanks, they're both old, they're both but they turn up, team up. That's the premise of the fucking movie.
That's a bad.
That is what it says on IMDb page. To be fair.
Speaking of which, you should probably keep an eye out for that sort of thing going forward. Because
that is a bad Star Trek movie. That's one of the bad ones.
Oh right. Oh yeah.
Oddly numbered one, isn't it? I mean,
that is the rule. Yeah.
I just think,
although having said that, Star Trek 3 is not that bad, but. Yeah.
Star Trek. I've not seen Star Trek 2, which people fucking love.
Star Trek 2 is fucking amazing. You need to watch that.
Is it? Fuck me. I'll be the judge of that.
Listen, Wrath of Khan.
Yeah.
You would like it.
Yeah.
I think you would like it, and it's basically a submarine.
It's like Commando, but better. Just trying to lure him in. That's the pitch,
people,
mate. It's basically Hunt for Red October in space. So actually, it's not
with a
that at
Scottish
all.
Russian.
Yeah. And it's got this amazing. It's got this amazing bit where Ricardo Montalban, fucking bare chested, covered in blood at the end, is giving a speech from a Captain Ahab speech, I believe. While he's setting up the bomb that's going to kill Kirk in his mind. And,
does it kill him instead?
It's going to kill him anyway. He's dead, and this is him just like from from with my last breath I spit at thee. But the antagonist and the protagonist never meet in that film. It's basically remote. They're trolling each other essentially. But with death in that. It's a fucking great film. It is a great film, but no matter even it's probably the only Star Trek. Fucking hell, I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this. It's the only Star Trek film that is at the same time a good Star Trek film and also just a good film.
Right, I'll watch it and I won't watch any of the rest of them, and I'll fucking tell you, mate.
Watch Wrath of Khan. I think
is it like Casino Royale then, in the sense that not only is it just a good Bond film, it's actually a brilliant film.
Casino Royale's well overrated.
It's not though.
It's got 45 acts, Dave.
It does have 4 acts. Yeah, no, I didn't know.
Oh, okay. I was wondering why you would be so convinced it was.
No, it's a brilliant film.
Because there's me. There I am.
There's me in the background crying about Liverpool.
I play the Aston Martin.
So well, those have been the questions. They've been good ones. So, have we got anything else that we want to talk about at the moment? As I said, it's kind of early days. We're still plotting our course. Obviously, we have an idea of what we're going to do. We're not that stupid, but nothing. A lot of things aren't exactly nailed down on exactly when and where they will happen. So, which maybe that's a bit frustrating. I can understand why, but there's I mean, what I can say is we're not making any schedule announcements or anything like that, because things are just taking shape,
organically taking shape at the minute.
Yeah, so it's not like we're not bursting out of the gate with and then you're gonna get fucking you're gonna get a review twice a day of things. No, I'm just going to see how it goes and see what we're able to do.
Well, there's lots of things in the pipeline, so it's just a case of ordering.
We are working on stuff. It's not like we just wake up and go, now we won't go to work today, because trust me, I've slept about 3 hours.
Well, it's this kind of weird. We're in a kind of strange position because there's a lot of stuff we are doing which isn't really relevant to the YouTube channel, I guess we can say. So it probably looks to the sort of to the people who know us from the things we've done before as if we're doing absolutely fuck all, because none of it is getting published in that way. But actually, I can't remember the last time I had a good fucking night's sleep. So, although that is going to get remedied very soon.
Gonna get knocked out.
But yeah, we're
gonna read you to sleep.
Yeah, we're gonna do loads of shit over the next few weeks, and some of it might become part of the YouTube channel, but we just don't know.
But it's all very exciting. It's a lot of fun, and you can follow all of that on your social channels at Jim Burns Dave. Just bang that in, you'll find us into whatever, and we will update. There is a lot on, and we're doing a lot, as you say there, Jim. Not all of it, in fact quite a lot of it isn't just directly YouTube focused. So yeah, we'll see. Anyway, we better fuck off, because this is in my house. Because
Burns is going to go watch the Wrath of Khan now, aren't you?
No, I want you out. Just wait till me. Anyway, listen, thanks for listening.
I want to go home now.
Yeah. And okay, right. Thanks for listening, everyone. Jim's going.
Thank you for making it such a painful experience. My first podcast.
Yeah. Well, it won't get any better. It'll get worse. It'll get worse. Thanks for the questions, and we will see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.